Key West, Florida, and we're gonna check out the shops at Mallory Square.
They look beautiful.
They got a lot of...
You're the cock of the walk, Lane. Woo!
Yeah, I've noticed a huge disparity in chickens here. There's way more males out and about than females. I don't think that the gender ratio is properly represented. It should be 50-50, but it's majority male. Fix the imbalance.
They're turning the roosters gay. Just some nice little shops up here. Like art stuff. They really like roosters and flamingos here in Key West. These are nice pictures too.
So they have 2 floors here at the mall, but there is a lot of empty space. So if you want to come to Key West and open a shop in the mall, this one's open. The ones at the back over there are open, and a few downstairs are also open. This area and this building was originally bought for and built by the United States Navy, and it was later taken on by the Coast Guard. It's a little history for the mall. Right here we have a rather large brick building named the Key West Museum of Art and History at the Custom House. It looks like inside they have something depicting Hemingway, which makes sense. He spent a lot of time in the Florida Keys, especially Key West, so there's probably quite a bit related to Hemingway inside. But yeah, it's a very impressive building. Probably the most impressive I've seen on the island. The fence and the obelisk both represent 2 separate sides of this island when it comes to the Civil War. The first being, of course, the Union soldiers who fought, and not necessarily fought for actually, but died on this island during the Civil War, because this island actually never was part of the Confederacy, even though it was part of the state of Florida, which did secede. This area was constantly under United States military occupation, but they did put up the fence to represent the Confederate soldiers that died for the state of Florida as a whole.
Behind me is a beautiful kapok tree, which are sacred to the Mayan people. Most of them grow in Java. Natural and delicious. What do you think that house is, Lane?
Looks like somebody probably very flamingo-tastic. Somebody loves the flamingos. I don't know, I guess they might have local flamingos and that guy's just super into them.
His house is a tourist destination because of his good marketing.
You have the cap on the camera. So, one thing that's pretty offensive that I keep finding around here is they have this flag of the former breakaway republic from the South. And a lot of people in America, obviously, aren't really too happy with Southern icons, you know, the Southern flags from breakaway countries. And, you know, I'm not trying to get too deep into the politics on it, but they have a lot of that certain flag, you know, all around here. So take what you will from that.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't just realize, like, all that shit is in the past. We're all Americans. Like, throw that shit away, burn it.
Okay guys, I'm at Sandy's Cafe in Key West, Florida. I got some sweet tea, and this is probably the southernmost bar in the United States because the southernmost point in the United States is right around the corner. So let's see if the southernmost point is culturally southern. That's a hard no.
And I'm at Sandy's Cafe, near the southernmost point in the United States, and I got the Rum Runner, the official drink of Key West. Not gonna lie, $13 for this drink. It better be delicious. It's pretty damn good. It's strong. Definitely not worth $13 though.
So these are conch fritters. What are they made out of? Conch. This is conch. This is the thing that this place loves so much they called themselves the Conch Republic. And I'm eating one. It's actually very good. I'm not a big seafood guy, but I really enjoy this. It's very pleasant. It's not too strong. It's not like fishy. Freshly cooked. These are piping hot, just out of the oven, or however they're made, out of the oil or fryer, yeah. But these are really, really pleasant. You guys, you can see behind me, this is the flag we've been talking about so much. There's a lot of dispute, you know, is there some sort of hatred that's associated with this? Is it about heritage? I don't know, it's not my place to say, but I know that I'm an American first, and I would never hang up a flag like this that represents everything anti-American. This is secessionists who wish to leave and become separate.
You know, as a native Floridian, I just want to say that that is hate. It's not heritage. It makes me sick.
I'm happy to see my state flag of California out here. Lots of Californians here in Florida.
We're walking around the mysterious island of Key West. It's about to storm.
Island vibes. If you're an island guy like us,
Or an island boy.
an island boy like
Some
ourselves, you'll feel a lot of familiarities with islands like Catalina Island, Hawaiian Islands,
Puerto Rico, Guam.
Jamaica, Barbados,
The island of Badugary.
the Dominican Republic, Cuba, and so many others.
I don't know why, but there's always chickens running around. And the plant life is obviously going to be different just because it's an island.
And the people, they're always on island time, if you know what I mean.
This is kind of a cool thing. This is kind of a cool, unexpected thing. People just carve their names into these leaves. I wish I had something to carve. I could write just life. Just life.
Oh, I didn't do good. But now I do better. Better leaf.
It tastes sweet.
It break. I give up. They outdid me this time.
But yeah, isn't this cool, guys?
Did you guys
You
come
better
here?
say yes.
This one is me. This is my mark.
If you come to this tree on this island within the next couple hundred years, you should see this mark.
On the leaf that I put it on is already dying, so hurry up. So here we're standing at the African cemetery of Key West, and you can see where some of the starting points were, including Nigeria itself, all the way down to the Congo. And if you follow this trail across the Atlantic Ocean, it ends here. There's many other ports that people ended up at across the Americas, but for some, it was right here in Key West, and they would end up dying here, people from all over Africa. And you can see these things left behind to represent different groups, different peoples who came here and died.
Have any of you guys seen yellow coconuts before? Me and Lane actually haven't. We're here on the naval base in Key West, and there's this massive structure right here near the entrance of the base that we're not really sure what it is at all, but it says contaminated area, avoid contact with soil and water. There's a bunch of pipes sticking out of the ground and big concrete structure. Any guesses?
No idea whatsoever.
Me.
Sewage?
Sewage. Nuclear sewage. But yeah, it looks like this. It looks like this. See, it doesn't really have any discernible shape or purpose. It just looks weird, like like some sort of weird concrete steampunk thing. When you're here in Key West, we often cite the Taste Atlas a lot, and it said that Old Sour sauce is the sauce of the Key West island, and it's from the Bahamas. Now, this isn't really a sauce, it's more like lime juice, but we're gonna put it on some chicken nuggets and do a little review for you. Also, I just want to point out, we got some chicken nuggets and some food, and they use paper straws. And I just feel like nobody's ever suffered quite like we are right now with these paper straws. Alright, let's try this shit. Here. You can see it's very liquid. It's literally just lime juice.
It's actually a marinade. You're supposed to put it on the meat when you cook it. Does it taste like lime?
That sure is lime juice.
Does it have any other notes of flavor? Alright, you heard it here first.
Delicious.
Make your ceviche with Old Sour.
Here's what I'm gonna do though. Also, it does live up to the name. It is quite sour. I got a little bit of ranch. I'm gonna try to put a little Old Sour in the ranch, see how that goes. Delicious. I'm a mixologist. That's not bad. That's a lot better, obviously, than just straight lime juice. It gives, obviously, a citrus aspect. I give Old Sour as a product, I'll give it a generous 2.5 out of 10. Delicious. And most importantly, natural. Alright, we're gonna try one more thing because obviously my ranch and citrus wasn't a very high scale, but the barbecue Old Sour might be a little better. So let's try this shit out. I'm out of nuggets. We're gonna go fry. One fry. Delicious. You know what? This, yeah, the Old Sour with the barbecue sauce actually does enhance the barbecue sauce a bit. So if you're gonna do it that way. Don't add it to ranch like I did. This one is divine. These fruit are natural. I think these might be key limes.
Eat one.
No.
Canon.
We're here at Fort Zachary Taylor, my personal favorite fort named Zachary Taylor. Just a normal day in the Keys. Lane, how big do you think that iguana is?
Probably 5 feet. Look at the tail to nose. These are an invasive species. They don't belong here, but they are everywhere.
Like Hank Williams would say, I'm a dinosaur. Should have died out a long time before. So we're here at Fort Zachary Taylor, which was used extensively during the Civil War to curtail Confederate blockade runners. Blockade running was actually a big part of the Confederate strategy in the Civil War because the Union had such a tight chokehold on Confederate trade, and they weren't producing very much powder or bullets at all. Like the whole supply system for the Confederates was a massive headache.
There's a really green lizard right here. I don't know what that is. That one's weird. I don't think we're gonna see one of those ones again.
Bring it over here. As you can see, the fort was originally 3 stories, but it is now not 3 stories. It was also used extensively in the Spanish-American War.
This, of course, being one of Florida's major contributions in the fight against the Confederacy in the Civil War. Having one of the most strategic points, the furthest out into the Gulf of Mexico, makes it very difficult for ships from Texas and stuff to slip away without coming sort of near here.
We were a house divided, much like that of Kentucky and Missouri.
But unfortunately, there's an even worse secessionist movement here. This is probably one of the areas in the United States that pushes the hardest for segregation. That pushes the hardest.
Segregation against straights and gays.
This is probably the area in the country that pushes the hardest for secession from the United States.
If and you want to know about the history of the Conch Republic, come here and learn it, because I won't tell that disgusting evil tale.
Yeah, that heritage is only hate.
If you're as big a fanatic as I am about balloon tower defense, you'll know that one of the upgrades is actually Grape
Hello?
Shot, which comes from
What's up?
Lane's on the phone during
Yeah.
the video. They have a really nice selection of different armaments that were used at the fort during different time periods. So if you like to look and be able to touch history, this is definitely a really cool place to visit. Something I find pretty cool is that right behind me is Naval Base Key West, and it's right next to the old Fort Zachary Taylor. So you can see that they actually have a U.S. Coast Guard cutter and another naval ship, and what looks like a bunch of rescue swimmers doing some sort of training over there. That's a lot like in Jacksonville, where you have Fort Caroline and then U.S. Naval Base Jacksonville right next to it. I think it's pretty cool.
Throughout the entirety of the Civil War, there was places just like this, scattered all along the coast actually of the United States, but Florida especially, because of the remoteness of most of these places, because they were separated from civilization by huge amounts of swampland. But also you could find places like this in Mississippi. I think there was some in Texas, Virginia. The whole start of the Civil War was actually a fort just like this in the Bay of Charleston, that the Union was just obviously not going to just surrender because their army was there and they didn't recognize the Confederacy as an independent state. So forts exactly like this, they would have been same time period built, held out against the Confederacy all along the coast. Some were stormed, others like this, because of the sheer remoteness, were obviously never touched. But yeah, that's a small part of U.S. Civil War history that led to the blockade being so successful.
Yeah, they played a huge important role in the Union's Anaconda Plan to strangle the Confederacy like an anaconda. He's Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can.
I'm really happy with this video. We're getting a lot of animal shots.
We are indeed the new Animal Planet.
This is actually the southernmost point of the continental United States. As you can see, there's a huge line every single day to stand in front of it and take your picture. It's also on TV, so you can watch it live on YouTube. Key West is one of Florida's largest gay communities. Animals on our planet. This guy from Montana has been looking forward to coming out to Key West for a long time.
If you see this car, destroy it.
You've been doxxed. Here at Sloppy Joe's, this place is famous because Ernest Hemingway used to hang out here.
And they're still capitalizing on that 50 years later.
And it's still paying them.
Sloppy Joe's. Their most famous item is actually the Sloppy Joe. Let's see if we can get something. They got pie?
Island Boys.
For a very brief amount of time, the Contra Republic, which is the island of Key West, broke away from the United States in an effort to be a separatist state.
They were so weak that the United States Coast Guard, which is basically just glorified sea police, were able to bring them back in line all by themselves. The first time they've done anything all by themselves.
You were bested by our worst branch, you conscious separatist pussies. You make me sick.